Good evening, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of the BBC, the Bordweall Broadcasting Company. Tonight we have as our guests Renegade, and we have Noslim, and we're going to be discussing a little bit about, some of the latest GIFs that were released on the website about the domain and settlement selection, and then some of the GIFs that Snipe Hunter had shown as well. So, Noslim and Renegade, say hi.
Hello. Not all at once.
Yeah, very, very, very synchronized there. It was awesome stuff.
Been practicing that.
There you go. Alrighty, so I think probably without further ado, Nos, if you queue up the first of the domain and settlement selection GIFs. Yeah, we can let that loop because it actually loops. You can put that up on the thing. We can quickly discuss that.
Oh, we're talking about from Serpentius's post.
That is correct. I think he had 2 on there, 2 or 3 on there. So
I think there's cool. 3. This is 3. I know my numbers. Can I just talk about if that's actually how that looks? I'm going to be really excited because it's really smooth. And I just want to play with it. I just want to spend like hours playing with it.
If you can just, zoom in on the top one and click it to full screen or open in a new window, whatever the case might. There we go. So one of the things, and again, I'm watching it on the delay. I'm not sure whether Vornair and got a quick little sneak peek as to what the county lines are on a particular in that duchy that they were looking at. But as you're looking at it, I'm not sure that this is kind of like being fully generated, whether the county lines are real or not real. They probably are, would be my guess. But as you look at some of the counties in that duchy, some of them don't even have settlements in them, which, again, might be possible because it's up in the taiga, right? And it's a relatively low population area. So some counts might kind of like be SOL and have to build settlements from scratch kind of thing. But yeah. But that one showed how you would pick multiple counties, which I found interesting. But Nozzle Ren, do you guys have any thoughts or input on that?
Well, I think with the whole picture with the lines, I don't think that's actually it. I'm guessing that's probably just a random overlay because I just don't know if it's done yet. So, and they were demoing most of this with map G, which was their demo map. And I know it was our map that was showing. I just can't imagine that's actually the demo and actually the lines. And if there is no population there, that really coincides with the information they gave us on the other maps that showed low population centers in those biomes. So, like, not having like any towns or cities at all was kind of scary, but not surprising based on the other information they gave us.
Cool. And we've actually been graced with Snipe Hunter's presence. Thank you, mate. Thank you for joining us. And Snipe Hunter is basically correcting me, which thank you for doing so. And he says that there are settlements in every county, but some counties only have hamlets and villages in them, and those don't show up except at the most zoomed in level. So, yeah, it is a matter that it is in the taiga. And so I guess Vornair, for one of their duchies, got a sneak peek to their county lines kind of thing, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, he's now going to blow all my conspiracy theories out of the water. He's been like, no, you're just blatantly wrong.
Awesome stuff.
But you can actually see like the parcel lines, which was, I was really kind of glad that you could see the actual parcel lines. Like, I know it's square, and some people aren't excited about that, but it means that it's not fudged and you're not going to be like, oh, half a parcel belongs to this county and half a parcel to that county. It's actually going to be by parcel, which makes it a little bit easier.
I also liked it was reassuring to see, that you can change your name of your settlement and your county and your duchy and everything like that in there as well. It was I thought that it was kind of pretty it's in depth, I think, and I could be mistaken on this. And again, Sniper Hunter can correct me if I am. But I think that with the kind of like with the extra amount of time, with there no being set date now on domain and settlement selection, I almost feel that it's like, they're having the time to kind of like although it's kind of like delayed, but to really put something very, very cohesive together, something that that this event, once it starts, is going to be very, very memorable. It's not just although they were good and fun, it's not like a Searing Plague event, right? But this is our world. This is the living, breathing world. We don't. I think we saw some pictures recently from. I think Caspian was showing kind of like the water, the flowing water and the stagnant water on the maps, and it's interesting to see this stuff kind of like behind the scenes.
And Snipe did confirm that that's mostly test data, and it's subject to change as they tweak their algorithms that they use. So I wouldn't count on those county lines being persistent, for a sneak peek type thing. So not too much to worry about there. So, but the thing that I took away from this was the community response to it immediately was what happened to the stylized map. So I think if I had it to do differently, I would put a big disclaimer on these images. Hey guys, work in progress, because a lot of people take these images and they just plaster them in their communities, and they don't even even post the announcement along with it. Sometimes they just copy and paste the images, and they have a little mini heart attack. What happened to our stylized maps? Where they go? So, but I did reach out to Castman in the official COE Discord. He did confirm that the stylized maps will be what we see in domain and settlement selection, that this was just test data. So we have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, maybe a watermark that just says whip on everything, because I know I've had who just get very excited and then they're like, wait, what is this? Why does this look like RuneScape, or like this doesn't look like what you told me we were getting? And I'm like, that's because that's pre-Illyria or whatever.
And speaking of pre-Illyria, we can move on to the first video that Snipe had put in his latest Shiny, which came out last Thursday. And let's go ahead and cue that up, if you would, Noz. And actually, there'll be some. It's so awesome that you're here, Snipe. And again, as always, thank you for taking the time to do that. Because I had a couple of questions as I looked over and reviewed these again today, etc. And as you look at that first image, you'll see kind of like some of the. We can look at that top one. Look at that top one first there, Noz. Is we you get to see some of the villagers actually walking around and milling around and everything, instead of just standing on the street corner fixed like in other MMOs. And so in this first one, you basically, what you're doing is you're seeing a person going out on a quest. And if you can, there we go, expand that out to full view. Some of the NPCs still seem to be standing around. Others you can definitely see are kind of like walking off and doing stuff and everything like that. And it's it's dynamic. You can see them walking there in the background and everything like that. I don't know if the AI has been programmed into this, particular snip here yet or not. And again, this is almost like pre-Illyria stuff, right? This is I want to stress, this is a work in progress. This is in a low poly mode, etc. One of the things that struck me is as they go about asking and trying to find where this person is, you'll notice that in the text window on the left-hand side, the
start getting more information and more names, and
it's more information and more names, but what's happening is the conversation is like an ongoing thing. It's not like a new chat window, is what I'm trying to say. For each interaction, when you watch them, it kind of like it piggybacks onto what they had asked of a previous NPC. And that's something that's kind of like relatively new and something that I haven't really seen. There's like a record of it, right? And I don't know if that's going to make it into game or not. With the knowledge system, I would imagine that it is. The one thing that might be in Snipe, since you're here, is when they do ask, when you look in that kind of like in that text log window, for want of a better word, you don't get to see whose name they were asking about. So they get a choice from all the different people they've spoken to, but in the text log, you don't get to see who you asked about what. And I don't know if that's intended, or again, if that's a change. And understand again, guys and gals, this is a work in progress kind of thing. But it was cool. Ren and Noz, your thoughts and input on that?
I think it's great because I'm one of those gamers that goes through the game and just clicks next. So when I get to that next NPC or that next person that I'm trying to, solve the mystery with, I have a backlog of the conversations that I've had previously. So I think it's great.
I think my favorite part of watching this was the fact that the names pop up after, like you've talked to them. Like, and I know they've mentioned it before that the name plating won't be present unless you've actually interacted with that NPC. But like, that's really cool, and I'm excited about it, and I want that to happen with player characters too, which I wonder if I can like ask them questions while they're in OPC mode, like offline player character mode, so I can be like, I'm going to find out something about this character that the player won't actually tell me because they're offline.
Yeah.
Sneaky. And then it's totally inaccurate because it's the OPC mode and it's not actually the player.
So let's move on to the next one, which I think was the character creation one. And this one I'm going to let you folks talk about, because I'm somebody that actually, obviously we all have to create our character and we all kind of like customize it and everything like that. I'm somebody that, for want of a better word, I don't really get into the character creation thing, and I know people spend hours and hours on it, and which is brilliant that they do. I'm not kind of like against it, but it's not me. So you guys talk about what we're going to see here in this character creation screen.
Want me to go? I'll go. The Teresks have blue hair, and I want blue hair on more characters. Unless that's black, and I'm colorblind, but I want blue-haired Teresks just everywhere, and Naslim has to have blue hair.
No, I just want the bald option, so keep that in there, and I'll greatly appreciate that, and all my characters will have no hair, and we'll be happy.
And so can I have like different, like if I'm a dude, can I have different hair color than like the mustache color? Because there's two different colors there, but it looks like they're locked together, and I want to know if I can have a separate one. Or like, can I?
It looks like the hair color and the facial hair are two different color options, so you should be in good shape there, hopefully.
Can I have a mustache on a female character? I need like a mysterious mustache to twirl. It's a directed question at Snipe. I want to know if I can have a mustache on a female character.
I don't know if he's going to get into that, but
No.
He did say it was intentionally locked. So for this particular video, but in game you will be able to choose different color facial hair with your real hair. But me being bald, it's not going to be an issue, so I'm not worried about it.
He said not right now, but maybe. He likes it. Mischievous mustaches and goatee stroking. But this does look like a simplified version from what we saw before, where they actually went into like the genetics, which it's kind of interesting that we don't see any of the genetics at all. But I think it's just enough to keep the characters so they look different. So it's like, I'm not looking at the same character 15 times in pre-Illyria. but it's still like giving you the feel and allowing you to put input into the system and have the system test with input without having to stress it with like the 500 genetic markers that is the actual way that they make characters.
That was terrible, D, but we got through it. So here we are.
Not any problem. I was actually sorry. Go ahead, Ren.
No, I'm just making faces at you and that you can't see.
Okay. It was kind of actually funny. Snipe, I'm going to share this with you because when I first saw your name, obviously we're used to seeing you under a different name. So when I read it, I misread your name as Snipe Hunters BS, and that somebody was actually doing a spoof on you, calling you BS, and I was actually going to get on them. So it was like, oh shit! It is Snipe Hunter, and so it might be an idea. Exactly the way that you did it that way, and I'm like, oh shit, we got to get rid of that person right away. I was going to get one of our mods to ban you and everything. So it's like,
somebody gave a Snipe Hunter troll mod privileges on our chat already, so we're screwed. So
exactly. So in the future, and again, you need to. The SBS maybe capitalized will prevent other people maybe seeing that as well. It was kind of like weird for me. Okay, cool. On to the next little GIF video thing then.
That's the inventory, right?
Snipe Hunter's bullshit. Here we go. All right, next video.
Yeah, I'll be the first one to have banned an SBS mod or dev. Yeah.
Are you gonna go talk about the inventory, D?
Yeah, we can talk about the inventory here. Snipe, as I was looking at this one thing that I had noticed, there were two items for the back there. There was a back sheath and a backpack. Are you able, and again, I know that some of the stuff you're kind of like not at liberty to talk about, and that's cool. Are you able to talk about the differential between the two? And also, this one doesn't have the 3-layer system of the clothing from what it seems. I do see that there's kind of like a shirt and an armor, so it's like there's 2 layers. Is it because it's like pre-Illyrian and it's a simplified version of the 3 layers of clothing? What's your take in on that?
I mean, when I'm looking at this looks like a simplified UI. It does not look like the finalized UI. And I think it's more, again, to test with inputs than, and this is conspiracy theory mode, obviously, but it's to test the inputs, I would guess, because that doesn't look like, it's not enough like hotbars for your UI, I would think, unless they're going to really stick with 4, which is a very limited number for like your waistband, pull out your tools kind of thing.
Yeah, I get that. How would something attach to like the backpack? Like it's been said that this, you can put a shovel in, but you can't put a 4-foot long shovel into a 2-foot tall backpack. How would that kind of? I know it's meant to attach through loops and everything like that. That a tailor is meant to sew onto the backpack. Is that going to be something that will be present in the pre-Illyria client, or is it how's that one going to be handled there? The other thing that I noticed on there, and that kind of like that came to mind to me, was as I looked at the knowledge UI, and you can see that kind of like the list of people that they had talked to shows up there in that knowledge UI. If you're going to have a kingdom that has potentially 16,000 players and 16,000 NPCs. Obviously, logistically, you're not going to be able to meet all of them and everything like that. But you're probably over the course of your gameplay, especially over a 10-year storyline, you'll probably have met thousands and thousands of people. What is the plan for kind of like documenting? Do you forget who you spoke to after a certain amount of time? Does it go away after a month or 2 months or 6 months? Or do you have like, inventory full in terms of names, delete 10 characters names that you don't want further info or knowledge on? it's etc. So that one's curious for me. But Noz and Ren, what were your inputs on that last little video?
I just think that it's pretty clear, given what we've known, the jury slots, all the different jury slots that we were, you would literally have a slot for each finger. That's so we can clearly see that some of the stuff is not there on this pre-Illyria and client, and Snipe had mentioned that it's a dumbed down version or slimmed down version. I don't know if I'd want to say dumbed down, but he did actually chime in on some stuff. It's a stripped down version. I like strip better. Yeah, we'll
of course you do.
So it's a stripped down look at the inventory system, and the 3-layer system actually exists on the back end, but these models aren't built to support it. You can actually have both a backpack and another backpack, like a quiver. Basically, anything that is supposed to be strapped to the backpack goes in the back sheath. It's called a back sheath because it's mostly there to handle quivers and shields and so on and so forth. So, yeah, he chimed in quite a bit on that. Now, I'm parched and need to drink, so.
I think, like, in regards to the people, though, like, we do have to remember you're not going to remember people from life to life because they're going to be a different character. You're going to play the kids. So even if you know the player's the same, the character will be different from life to life. So that'll refresh every year. But then on top of that, God, I hope there's a good search method. But I do like, I mean, it's only like radial. Like it only shows you people you know really, really well, or people you've actively searched by name, or like people within like a 10-mile radius that you know, maybe. Or just relevant to you.
But what if, I mean, do you think then that I don't think that the knowledge base can be wiped from life to life, right? Because the soul is persistent, and the soul retains kind of like, some of the crafting knowledge and the crafting skills. Do you think that your character kind of like that their memory gets wiped and you have to start off again, or how do you think that part works?
Well, I think the knowledge in regards to characters gets wiped because say I'm playing my daughter in the next character, that daughter is not going to know anyone that the mother knew. And then even if, okay, so it was my mother's best friend and now it's my mother's best friend's daughter, that's the player playing their next character. That's not the same character. It could be a different gender. It could be a different tribe. It might not even be the same player anymore. And you can't really retain that knowledge, at least on the characters, from generation to generation.
It would make sense if you sparked into your heir, if your heir had some knowledge of people you had interacted with in the past, but they weren't the ones that had that interaction. They weren't the ones that had that one-on-one conversation. So it wouldn't make sense for them to retain all of that knowledge. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that.
And they won't retain the reputation either. It might be carried over like minorly if you think like Crusader Kings 2, where you can kind of get a reputation from your predecessor, but it's not like substantial. It would be like, oh, you're this person's child kind of thing, not necessarily you have the same reputation your parents did.
People are talking about my t-shirt. Yes, it's a Blood Oak t-shirt. I made it myself. Not really. But yeah, it's representing. Hoorah.
Woot woot.
Alrighty, cool. I think that that has us done on the videos, right?
Well, there's a contract system on the video that we didn't cover. We just blew right past that.
Yep. Let's do the contract system. Sorry, then.
Oh God, I'm so excited to have seen a contract for this is the first time we've seen a contract since way back. And we saw 2 different versions way back. We saw the fill in the blank one, and then we saw the weird exchange one. And this is it looks like a quest. And I've been trying to explain to people for so long that contracts are quests, but people can make them. And it's just I want to touch it and hold it and give them out to people.
But what we're looking at right there isn't a contract, is it? That's part of the knowledge system.
They showed us a contract at the very beginning of the quest GIF. It was a very short one, but they did show us the contract. It was 2 seconds it flat.
Did you take that as a contract, or did you take that as a? I just took that as a quest journal thing, you know?
No, that's the contract, is go deliver this. Like, that's the contract.
That is the contract. Okay.
At least that was what I took it to be. If it's not, I'm completely conspiratorial again.
But in this particular video, there's no demonstration of the actual contract. This is just exploring the knowledge that you have. So there's no active contract in here, but it's the knowledge and contract system, to me, seems like it's common sense going to be linked pretty heavily.
Yep, and Snipe's been good enough to reply there. You do actually lose your knowledge, but you find out when you reuse a soul that you have a knack for certain skills, and so the knowledge in some cases comes back. But when a character enters the world, it has some knowledge of its own anyway. So a child will know its family, carry its family reputation, but they won't know that their parent discovered a hidden temple to the kindred buried in a hill. Sorry, the chat thing was screening up for me. You'd have to rediscover that yourself. On the other hand, if your last soul was a kind of like in the old movie version of Dune with Murad'Dib, just knows how to wear a still suit in desert fashion, etc. So yeah, so yeah, I guess a certain amount of knowledge. It's almost like the retention of the knowledge of crafting, I guess, is what Snipe Hunter is saying there. That you'll relearn things perhaps a little bit quicker in certain areas, kind of like who the people in your town or your village or your settlement are, etc.
I think Ren wanted to talk about some of the new shiny pictures that we got with the mine entrance as well. I have those available if you want to take a look at those too.
Absolutely, fire away on that.
I did want to talk about it, but I couldn't find the picture of the original mine, because this, as far as my conspiracy theories go, is that this is the Giant's Mine, like Silver Run mine that they demoed in the actual, like, what was it? I don't know what the engine's called, but they demoed it at like PAX like 2 years ago, where they did the parkour run. And I'm pretty sure that's what this is, or at least try to faithfully maybe.
But this isn't the Silver Run mine up north, up by the by Titan Step, and that's not in the desert area, is it?
I don't know. But it looked very similar with the parkour course. And, I don't think that the Silver Run mine was actually made in the real. It was made before they actually started making it. It was demos and stuff. So I think this is them either trying to recreate it similarly, or maybe I'm just grasping at straws.
Yeah, we're gonna shoot holes all in your conspiracy theories too. Don't worry.
Snipe Hunter confirms conspiracy theory wrong. D is right, and I want that on the record. Thank you. Screenshot of that, please.
I tried. It looked really similar. It looks like it's got a parkour run in it, which makes me want to take the pre-Illyria character through it and do a parkour. I mean, maybe it doesn't. Is pre-Illyria going to have the parkour is my next question, because that's also something I really, really like, the kind of like Assassin's Creed sort of style that demo showed, and it was so cool, and I want to play with it.
That's actually a really, really good question. Snipe, we're going to put you on the spot on this one. Will there be parkour in pre-Illyria?
We also
excellent.
We had the catacombs picture as well, which we have up now. So my thought on this was, is this something that we'll discover that's already pre-generated, or is this an example of something we might see? Obviously, we're not going to see that in a pre-Illyria client, but this kind of gives you some excitement to some of the things that people can create later on, maybe once we get to a launch. So this is definitely cool. This is going to be Ren's dirty little basement down below her house, where she hides all her slippers and her shoes. That she won't show anyone.
Are amazing. And the next time, maybe no.
And I was just about to ask Snipe Hunter. Actually, it's like you read my mind. I was going to ask is, because obviously those were man-made columns in there and everything like that. If those are the kind of things that we'd be able to create in our, when we dig out underneath our our own kind of like parcels, and you answer that yes, this is something that possibly potentially we'd be able to make ourselves. So it's not just, when we can tunnel underneath the ground, it's not that you're just going to create a little maze of passages, which you might end up doing and leave it just as that and make it kind of like a labyrinth thing. But it looks like you'll actually be able to make, like, for want of a better word, 2-story or 3-story, almost like little chambers and caverns inside, as long as I would imagine it would depend upon the material that you're actually digging in as to what kind of support and structures that you might put in. This might be something, again, that, you can build that maybe into a mesa, but can you build it on a beach in the sand kind of thing, or would the sand, I doubt that there's going to be tunneling. And this is, again, a question for you, Snipe Hunter. Will there be tunneling in the swamps? Are there areas in the swamps kind of like of little kind of like grassy, patchy bits of land that aren't actually, waterlogged, where people might be able to tunnel? Would they need to have, I don't know, pump technology discovered to keep any water from seeping in, etc., etc.,
There are going to be players who are going to build a house underwater because that's probably the best place they can think of to hide a base. Like, you just know somebody's going to do that, whether it's viable or not.
I think there's been some recent conversation about this. The terrain layer, it is what it is. You're not going to be able to tunnel into that. But what you can do is place a mine entrance, and then that will be, for lack of better terms, maybe an instance that'll take you into an area that you can tunnel into, basically. But you're not going to be able to tunnel into the top layer of the terrain.
Yeah, tunneling but not terraforming, which is a really interesting distinction because, a lot of games that have tunneling have terraforming. But to have one without the other means you can't change the surface, but you can go beneath it and basically extend the mesh, which is. And then the other thing with this, like the talking about the man-made caverns, anything that we can make can be destroyed, which makes me think that all of these pre-existing things can be destroyed too, which makes me then think that we're going to have like some angry archaeologists that's like, why has this rune been destroyed? Can we destroy pre-existing things? Is my question, I guess.
Yeah, I think we can. And I mean, there is a ruin system, if I recall correctly, that's going to be built into the game, as well. I think we touched on that a little bit in the last stream we did with Peeve kind of thing. We got about 10 or so minutes left. Notice if you can start putting up the images of the cartography that I did. We had some comments were made in the official COE Discord in the domain and settlement selection channel this week. And there were people kind of like, being concerned because we have here in Bordweall, we're doing our own interactive map project. And that interactive map project is something that we're very, very interested in doing. I want to dissuade any of the concerns that might have been cropping up about, oh, wow, metagaming, et cetera. People are going to be gaining information anyway. The images that Noslim has just put up, you can see, of the different maps that came up. Those are actually images that I made. I love cartography. I'm a cartography geek. And this is for a different project, for a different game, for Shroud of the Avatar. And it's it's a kind of style that I enjoy doing, and it is a style that we will actually be translating once the official image for domain and settlement selection comes in. I'll be screen capping all of it and then basically making my own version of it, for want of a better word, right? A very, very high res. I don't know what it'll be. We've discussed internally about it being 10,000 pixels by 10,000 pixels, etc. But it's not going to do away with the cartography profession. It doesn't threaten the cartography profession. You're not going to see things. We're not going to be putting on things there like the places of mines. It will be just like in kind of like in its, what am I trying to say? In theory, it's going to be like the domain and settlement selection map where you can see where certain features are, but you're not going to, it's not going to give you that much knowledge, right? It's going to give you, from that point of view, in terms of positioning, it'll probably give you less information than if you'd bought a map at the local cartographer in the closest settlement that you happen to be in. Noz, if you can go to our website and navigate through, please, to our interactive map and then scroll through in on the zoomed in levels. In fact, this piggybacks to what Snipe had sent earlier about, you get to see certain things at certain levels. And we have the same thing. But we will basically stop at that hamlet level, at the level where you see the settlements, and our filters on there. You're going to have filters pretty much like you saw there. And in fact, we'd made this map several months ago before we even saw the domain and settlement selection map. You're going to be able to have the filters in there that show, oh, these are the professions that are the most sought after in this settlement, or these are the professions that we don't need, or we're looking for iron ore, or we're looking for this type of wood, or we export abalone shells, whatever the case might be. But more importantly is that it is going to kind of like show the tax rates. It'll show maybe what the predominant religion in an area is. It will show what the laws for a particular settlement are. So if there's a settlement that decides, and again, I'm pulling this literally, out of my hat for a politer way of saying it, but it's like if there's a settlement that has what to many people would be a ridiculous law, like they kill people who wear red hats on site, then that law would already be showing up on that screen. And before people go and plan and trade and everything like that, they can actually click on the different settlements that they're going to be visiting. And this information will actually be updated by the owner of the settlement. What's happening is we're building and we're coding a back end on this, where basically it'll be a verified ID number so that the owner of that settlement can input the data just specifically for that settlement. So if they don't want to have information put in there, they can just not put it, and the settlement can remain a mystery, right? Or you can have you know people put in there that they are looking for blacksmiths or they're looking for beekeepers. But again, I want to just address the concerns that it's not doing away with the cartography system. It, in my opinion, being both an in-game and an out-of-game cartographer, it complements it, because when you're a cartographer, you're collecting information, right? And what do you do with that information? You collate it, you put it together, and you put it into something that, obviously, a document that we know as a map. And I guess the question is, wow, should we have maps only in game or maps that are outside a game? I would prefer it, to be quite honest, if there were maps only in game. But, let's face reality. I mean, let's not be stupid here and think that, oh, nobody's going to make a map on this size and scale and level. So our philosophy and theory on that is we'd love to be the ones that do it, because we're doing it not with we don't have an ulterior purpose to it other than to help and benefit and complement what is going on in game. Metagaming goes on, whether it's through, discords and kind of like voice chats and everything like that. So we want to give enough information there that's beneficial to people, but not to where it kind of like ruins stuff.
Also, I can't view things in the game when I'm at work, but I can go to a website and look at stuff.
No, so when these concerns came up, I went into the COE Discord, and we call them concerns. I don't think it's legitimate concerns. I think it's people just trashing our efforts and what we're doing. It's par for the course, right? So, but what I said was Boardwall's basically putting a spreadsheet on a pretty image, right? But the slander or the talk of the day, the cool topic was Boardwall's attempting to replace cartography. And I said, absolutely not. There's not going to be any points of interest on this map. It's going to give you a general idea of where settlements are located if those particular mayors decide to advertise that information. So, they're going to come into the website and they're going to put their information. They're going to put their goods that they want to offer. They're going to put that information in there. What they don't want to put in there is not going to be in there. But I guarantee you there are going to be people that are going to have many, many tab spreadsheets that are going to have already collected as much information as domain and settlement selection will provide. And they'll use that to their benefit through game launch. That's not at all what we're trying to do here, but we're not saying that's not going to be done because we're a little bit smarter than that. So we know people are going to be doing that, but that's not even what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do is gather information that people want to present to other people to say, hey, this is me. This is where a general area of where I am. This is what we're going to be focused on. This is how you can get in touch with me out of game. And if you want to find me in game, we're kind of in this area in this county. Come visit us. I mean, it is what it is. You can't make it any more than that, but people are going to try anyway. So whatever.
But it's almost like it's almost like an external. Yeah, it's like an external gossip system to a certain extent. Where if you were in a village, I don't know if the game mechanics will allow and the gossip system will allow that if there's a traveler going through. I mean, in real life, if you knew that the village 2 miles down the road was full of murderous thugs, you'd probably want to warn a stranger coming through or having a meal at the tavern that, hey, don't go that way. There's murderous thugs, right? That would be part of a natural real life gossip system. I don't know how developed the gossip system would be in game, that if somebody was walking through the marketplace and saying, oh, hey, do you know the way to, Blackheath Village, that people would automatically whoa, take that fucking red cap off your head because you're going to be killed as soon as you walk in through the village gates kind of thing, And so it's to complement what is going on in the game rather than compete with or ruin the experience that your character will be enjoying in the game itself.
Yeah, I mean, so our website and our interactive map that we're making is not going to infringe on anybody that wants to discover anything. But I will tell you, it's going to be no different than anything else. If you don't want to look at what people are advertising, hey, come see me, don't go to it. But there are going to be people that are meticulously recording every scrap of information they can get out of domain and settlement selection. And I'll even caution, people, I say caution, whatever. To me, it's common sense, right? So if you've been advertising your settlement's name is going to be XYZ, and you go into domain and settlement selection, and your recruitment posts are all over the forums, you go into domain and settlement selection, and as soon as you change that generated name to your name that you've been saying for years, you're going to name your settlement, everyone in the world is going to know exactly where you are. And I promise you they're going to take screenshots and they're going to put a nice little bald head picture avatar right on their map, and they're going to save that, and it might get leaked. And if you don't want to know that information, don't look at it. It's no different. But that's not what we're doing here, but you can expect that it's going to happen.
Gotta let the data nerds like me have something to keep track of. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of pictures on a real-time board, and that's not clean to navigate.
I couldn't get through the show without a little rant, so there you go. That's my
It was only a little rant. It was good.
A little rant.
That's probably a good place to end the show then. I think it's some good info that we put out. I love it when you join a Snipe Hunter and kind of like, I wouldn't say steer, but kind of like, give counterpoints to what we're discussing, with your inside view there from the studio, and say, oh no, guys, you got it wrong on that one.
Loopholes in the conspiracies.
This is what we're going to be doing, or yeah, you guys are right on that one, kind of thing. It's all, you know, it's always just so great to have that validated. And I am hoping personally, there's no guarantee here, but I'm hoping personally that when we do our next live stream in 2 weeks' time, that we will actually be already in domain and settlement selection. So I think that's exciting. It's not official. It's not anything. It's just me speculating and throwing it out there. But we will catch you all in 2 weeks' time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.